Hi, my name is Hall Edmonds,
My name is Logan Gill.
I'm Alex Hill.
and today we're going to be talking about how FedEx and Dijkstra apply to each other. So as we all know, FedEx is a delivering company and they deliver over 16 million packages on average per day. So the question is, how do they decide the fastest route to get the package to the customer?
So the problem is the package must travel from location A to B as fast as possible. There's 1,000 possible of routes.
So what FedEx does is use a type of algorithm called dynamic route optimization, which we looked at as basically an advanced form of Dijkstra's.
So as Logan alluded to, Dijkstra, as we learned in class, is a shortest path algorithm that finds the shortest path between 2 points. DRO is basically an advanced version of that uses AI to add in live weights you can look for as live conditions such as weather, traffic, and conditions of the road or whatever mode of transport you're doing. So in other words, DRO and Dijkstra are solving the same problem. So applying these, FedEx uses the more advanced system DRO, but that system still relies on the same principles that Dijkstra uses for the shortest path algorithm.
So first application of this, applying the Dijkstra to the FedEx ground delivery. So think about the route system of the graph network, like delivery routes and warehouses and customer service, like do as a knot, and route and the highways can be declared as edges. So Dijkstra applies by this model by traveling times and distance and fuel cost and traffic weights.
FedEx also uses marine transport. So in this case, when putting it into the algorithm, you might use ports as your vertices and then shipping routes as your edges. So the way you're determining your weights is different because usually something like ocean channels would affect it, but maybe there's not as much worries about traffic. And one interesting thing about marine transport is that ships tend to use a lot less fuel than something like airplanes, but they also go a lot slower.
Finally, the last way the packages are transferred is through the air. Think of FedEx as a gigantic graph network where the major hubs are in Memphis, Indianapolis, and then overseas is in Paris. All the smaller regional airports close to these main hubs are all connected to the big hub. And if we want to apply Dijkstra's to this, we want to think of the airports as nodes, the flight routes as edges, and the weights can be described as flight time, fuel cost, weather delays, and air traffic congestion.
So along with this, we looked at actually a few different ethical concerns that can be caused by the use of this.
The first ethical concern we're going to talk about is emissions. Air cargo is one of the most carbon-intensive shipping methods. It accounts for 2 to 3% of all carbon dioxide emissions in the air.
So one reason that it is used so often is because it's a lot faster than some other forms of transport, and especially for like something like fast fashion, where companies want to get goods to people as quick as possible. But more speed also means more emissions in this case.
The next ethical consideration is unequal service. FedEx uses a hub and spoke network, and essentially what that is that the places that have the most volume of people, such as Denver, Atlanta, Indianapolis, they get their packages delivered first. And the rural areas such as Wyoming, the Dakotas, all those kinds of places, they don't get delivered as fast. So the optimization prioritizes the high demand routes, as in the routes that take you to the most volume of people, and the efficiency. So another thing you have to consider is how much did the person pay for their package. People who pay more get their package delivered faster.
Ethical consideration 3, financial costs. The main issue of this, the route optimization can reduce costs, and but costing saving may become the main priority. So for example, faster routes can be at the same fuels, times, and vehicle maintenance costs, but DRO may choose the cheapest route, not always the fastest or fairest run.
And the last one we wanted to talk about was the pressure the workers feel. FedEx operates on a very strict schedule, and that schedule is determined by DRO or Dijkstra's to make sure that the packages are getting to the customers as fast as possible. So that means that the schedules become tighter and less flexible.
Optimization algorithms also cause companies to want to use more automation because robots will speed up how fast warehouses can do operations, but that also means that workers have to work at a higher pace and get more injuries.
So ethical consider about this consideration is gonna be like speed versus a worker safety.
These are the sources that we use to pull all of our information from the internet. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.